Hey there, it's Tara Sage here. I'm here to talk to you today about an existential crisis. I've been having a bit of a technology crisis, but it's all good. We're here now. So, hello to those who are joining. I'm going to take a sip of water and dive right into today's topic about having an existential crisis and how to move through it. So, I want to be sure. Volume working? Lester and those who are on the line, give a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Want to be sure technology is working. All right, thank you. So, hooray. Okay. Whew. I'm here to talk about an existential crisis, but I've been having a bit of a technology crisis. So now we're here and we're connected, and I'm so glad to be connected to you. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Tara Sage, and I have a business called Tara Sage Coaching, and it's tarasagecoaching.com, and I am fully devoted to, as is my business, helping you to live your dreams and create a life and business that you don't need a vacation from. So that's what I'm all about. And today I am here to talk to you about having an existential crisis and how to move through it successfully. So to start, what do I mean by an existential crisis? Well, here's an example. Another word for it, or another way to say it, is when you're having an identity crisis, okay? When what used to fit no longer fits in your life. Now, I am not talking about like a favorite pair of jeans here, okay? What I'm talking about is when something has shifted within you. When something has shifted within you in a way that integral aspects of your life and your sense of identity suddenly feel out of alignment with what you have known yourself to be and who you have known yourself to be. Okay, that's what I mean by an existential crisis. When things don't fit that used to fit in your life, and we're not talking about a favorite pair of jeans, no. So I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced an existential crisis? A time in your life when what used to fit no longer fit for you. Perhaps you're going through something like that now that has you wondering if you might be in the midst of an existential crisis, and perhaps you're wondering, like, how do I manage this? What the heck do I do now? So just last week I was talking to a colleague of mine, a fellow coach, who is very, very skilled at what she does. She's been coaching for more than 15 years and has always loved it. And she shared with me that she's concerned because this industry, the doing of the coaching, the thing that she's always loved to do and has brought her great satisfaction for 15 plus years, she's concerned because all of a sudden, if she's really honest with herself, she's feeling bored. She's feeling bored. And she hasn't been able to reclaim her mojo around the thing that used to fit for her. So that's an example. I've felt my own existential crises in my life from time to time. One happened earlier this year when the business that I had created and the brand that I had created as an extension of my soul, Create Your Life, I had built and designed it to fit me, as an extension of me, and it did fit me for more than 10 years. But then it started to feel confining. And I ended up completely rebranding my company from Create Your Life to simply Tara Sage Coaching, and new website and all of that. And then I quickly felt more expansive and I felt free within my business again. But the process wasn't easy, and recognizing that I needed to change something wasn't easy because I didn't want to change anything, not at first at least. So a crisis of this sort can happen and can apply not only to professional life. I've given you a few examples of professional life, but it can also happen in your personal life and in your relationships. So from my experience, both with my own existential crises and through coaching others to move through it, I found that there are 4 phases, okay? 4 phases of an existential crisis. And I want to share this with you because I think it's super helpful to know this. Because if you know that there's a rhythm or there are phases of this unfolding process, then you can feel more empowered as you move through each phase. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So here are the 4 phases of an existential crisis from my experience. So here's phase 1. Phase 1 is what I call the truth bomb moment. Phase 2 is terror. Yes, terror. Phase 3 is making the necessary changes. And phase 4 is what I like to call your Madonna moment, okay? So I'm going to talk briefly about each of these 4 phases of an existential crisis. So phase 1, the truth bomb moment. This is the moment that you bravely acknowledge the truth with a capital T of what no longer fits, okay? It's the moment that you recognize something has significantly shifted in a way that can't be undone, all right? That's phase 1. Phase 2 is terror. Now, let's be real here. The prospect of change will more than likely be terrifying. You will likely be asking yourself questions like, will my relationships change? Will I need to move? Where will I live? How will I earn a living? Not all of these questions, but some of these questions might apply to you. Will I need to go back to school? Will I lose clients? Will I lose friends? What will my family think? Have I been on the wrong path all along? Was it just a big waste of time? These are just some of the examples of some of the really profound questions that may be coming up for you during phase 2, which I call terror. Now, if fear doesn't take you out in this phase 2, then you'll move on to phase 3. Now, I'm going to share more in a moment about what happens when fear derails you here and then you deny yourself the process of moving through the next few phases of this process. So I'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, let's move on to phase 3, okay? Phase 3 is making the necessary changes. So this may mean having the hard conversations. It may mean closing or starting a business. It may mean, as it did for me, rebranding an old business. It may mean relocating, or it may mean going back to school, or some combination of these things. And this then takes us to phase 4, which I like to refer to as your Madonna moment, okay? And I'm naming this after the pop star, not the Virgin, just to be clear. Not to be confused with one another. So I call it your Madonna moment because you get to reinvent yourself. You get to reinvent yourself. I call it your Madonna moment because Madonna, the pop star, is a great example of someone who has consistently reinvented herself along with her evolution. So there's nothing disgenuine about it. It's very authentic. She's reinvented herself along with her evolution. So, for example, she went from the material girl to starring in Evita, right? And skeptics thought, she can't do Evita. Like, this is miscasted. And Madonna ended up getting a global what is it called? A Golden Globe for Best Actress in Evita. The Material Girl did that. So, like Madonna, you get to recreate yourself from the present moment based on your own evolution. Making sense? The present moment is always the point of creation. You just can't create from the future and you can't create from the past. You create from exactly where you are. So now your Madonna moment doesn't necessarily have to be dramatic. I want to say that to you too. And it doesn't have to happen all at once. It's often a fear of folks like, oh no, I've got to change something. Now I have to change it all at once. It can happen quickly, or it can happen incrementally. But what I think is important to note is that relief comes through moving towards it. Relief comes through moving towards it. You begin to create anew simply by choosing to be on the path of your Madonna moment. Got it? Making sense? Yeah, good. So now, this process is not easy. Let's just be really upfront about that. This is not easy. And having the support of a skilled coach throughout this process can be absolutely invaluable. Now, whether that coach is me or someone else, the right support can make all the difference. I like to say teamwork makes the dream work, right? So if you would like to chat with me, I offer a complimentary session so that we can connect in real time and explore the possibilities together. If you're interested in that, go to sessionwithtara.com and there you can schedule your session super easy, okay? So again, that's sessionwithtara.com and you'll see exactly what you need to do to schedule. Easy. Okay, so before we wrap, I want to talk to you, as I promised, about what's the cost? What's the cost of denying or refusing to move through these phases of an existential crisis? Like, what happens if fear of change just takes you out of the flow? You're like, I'm not changing anything. I'm just going to stay put. Status quo is good enough for me. Well, I genuinely, sincerely believe that the cost is way too high. From my experience, an ignored existential crisis becomes a health crisis. Let me say that again. An ignored existential crisis becomes a health crisis. So, if you're resisting acknowledging the truth of what no longer fits for you, then maybe you're already noticing the ways that your body is talking to you. It usually starts with a whisper, and then it gets progressively louder. Anyone experience this? You know what I'm talking about. So a health crisis can manifest on many levels. It could be on the physical level, it could be on the emotional level, and more often than not, it's some combination of the two. And span that out over time, the impact is huge. The cost is too high. The impact can be feelings of profound frustration, feeling completely resigned to your life being the way it is, regardless of whether it feels good to you or not. It can feel like you are trapped in a reality of your own making and like there's no way out. It can feel incredibly confining. You might even have symptoms like it's hard to take a deep breath. So if you're feeling any of this, please reach out for support. Again, whether it's me or someone else, you don't need to go this alone. It is not fun. It is not an easy place to be, and the cost is too damn high. Because over time, your well-being will be directly impacted. It will be directly affected. So The cost of an ignored existential crisis is a health crisis. So don't let it go that far. Again, I'll say having the support of a skilled coach throughout this process can be absolutely invaluable, and things can change very, very quickly with that kind of support. So if you would like to connect with me, it would be my absolute honor and privilege to talk to you one-to-one and explore in a personal way the possibilities together. Then please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I offer a free session, sessionwithtara.com, and that's how you schedule and find a time that works best for you. Okay? Easy breezy. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today for this Tips from Tara video series. I hope this spoke to you. I hope this topic serves you. I hope you feel me reaching through this video to you. If you're feeling alone in this existential crisis process, you are not. And you will get through it. The 4 phases, that's what you're gonna move through. So I wish you a great rest of the day, and I look forward very much to our next connection. So bye for now. Thanks for watching.